5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
This is About Space, America's return to space. With news and information on the U.S. manned space program is your host of About Space, David Denard.
This is a program to take back business from the Russian Soyuz. Americans have been hitching a ride, so to speak, since the end of the Space Shuttle program in 2011.
Retired Navy Captain Chris Ferguson. And welcome to our program. He was the last Space Shuttle commander with 3 missions under his belt and with more than 40 days in orbit, including a construction mission. And he is now the Director of Crews and Missions for Boeing. And more on Boeing's Starliner next. Don't think of taxes and accounting as being a problem. I use Hometown Tax and Accounting Services in Cartersville, Georgia. And for all of your financial needs with years of valuable experience, they deal with estate, trust, tax planning services. And be sure to like us on Facebook, Hometown Tax and Accounting in Cartersville, Georgia. Are you ready to fly away on a dream vacation? For cruises and all-inclusive resort vacations, call D&D Cruise and Tours at 877-747-8631. That's 877-747-8631. And see us on Facebook, D&D Cruise and Tours, where your dreams become a reality. We're talking with Chris Ferguson, Director of Crews and Missions for Boeing. Is there any comparison to the Space Shuttle? And talk a little bit about the amazing marvel and what it was like to fly it.
Well, as you had said, it was an amazing design. 50-foot long payload bay, able to carry 50,000 pounds of payload and 7 astronauts at one time to space. It'll be a long time before we see a vehicle like that again. Now, that said, it did have some weak areas. Specifically, it didn't have an abort system. And when I say abort system, I mean a way to get away from a rocket that could be having a bad day behind you. Therein lies one of the big differences between the way we used to do business and the way we intend to do business going forward, is to always provide that ejection seat capability for astronauts. But back to the Space Shuttle, it was an amazing ride. There are a few what I call gee whiz moments in spaceflight. One of them is having the privilege prior to ascending the tower and getting into the shuttle on launch day of standing at the base and watching that fully fueled vehicle huffing and wheezing and giving off vapor and moisture condensing in the form of water pouring off in buckets from the bottom of the external tank, and you have a chance to stand at the base of that and look up and pinch yourself and say, the Americans are really going to let me take this into space today. But it's a wonderful ride once you get up there. It felt like the family minivan, a lot of comfort. It performed dramatically, not to mention the fact that we could always carry our luggage with us in the back, and it was absolutely pivotal in the assembly of the International Space Station, having committed 33 missions exclusively to constructing the ISS. As far as the opportunity to come home and land it, there are some residual adverse effects from being in zero-G for a long period of time, namely your vestibular system is a little bit off. I always wondered what it would be like to try to fly an airplane when you're a little off balance, but it actually comes back to you very quickly. A little bit of a roll or two that you're allowed to do prior to the final landing is enough to sort of help you get your bearings back again. And every landing, as you can see, has turned out to be a happy one for the Space Shuttle, so it worked out really well for all of us, and I was just happy to be a part of it all.
So what is the Starliner like?
So it'll be very Apollo-like, so it's a smaller package. The Space Shuttle was a wonderful vehicle. It also carried 50,000 pounds of cargo. We didn't have a requirement to carry 50,000 pounds of cargo, only to carry 4 astronauts back and forth. So it'll be capsule-shaped. We'll have a service module on the back to propel us around orbital space in our rendezvous trajectory to the ISS, and we're going to launch on an Atlas V vehicle, which is a very proven and reliable vehicle that's been in service since early 2000.
So the Starliner can return from space like the Russian Soyuz for landing.
It's actually very similar. We'll use a series of pyrotechnic-initiated parachute deployments to slow our descent to parachute speed, and then instead of using a retro rocket like the Russian system does, we too will jettison our base heat shield about 3,000 feet off the ground, and we'll deploy a series of 6 airbags around the perimeter of the crew module. and they're about 5 feet in diameter. They'll cushion the final landing. There's blowout features such that when the pressure rises to a certain value, it'll slow the descent down and will absorb that final impact down to something that's a comfortable 3 or 4 Gs.
Chris Ferguson, Director of Crews and Missions for Boeing. And this Friday, December 20th, join me and my co-host Rick Potlock for live video coverage at 6:30 a.m. for the launch of the final uncrewed orbital test flight of the Starliner spacecraft on YouTube Live, Facebook Live, and Twitch.tv. Read more about the launch and see us on Facebook. I'm David Denault, and this has been About Space Today.